In another year, I'll have enough money saved. Then I'm going to go back to my hometown in Oregon, and I'm going to build a house for my mother and myself.
She won an Oscar, played the perfect mom on TV, and made Jimmy Stewart believe life was wonderful. But behind Donna Reed's picture-perfect smile lurked a shocking secret life nobody knew about. While America thought she was baking cookies, she was actually fighting the government, getting fired from Dallas, and hiding a deadly diagnosis that would kill her at just 64. You won't believe what happened to America's sweetheart. Donna Reed was born on January 27, 1921, on a small farm near Denison, Iowa. She was the oldest of 5 children in a hardworking Methodist family. Growing up during the Great Depression, Donna saw how tough life could be. She remembered watching families pack everything into old cars and leave town, hoping to find something better. Her own family had to sell off most of their animals just to survive. Even with all these struggles, Donna was a strong student. She graduated near the top of her high school class in 1938. One of her teachers gave her a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, which made a big impact on her. Soon after, she landed the lead in a school play and was even crowned Campus Queen. That same year, Donna left Iowa for the first time. Her Aunt Mildred invited her to live in Los Angeles, so Donna boarded a train with just one trunk and $60. She started classes at Los Angeles City College, where she studied stenography and lived with her aunt, who, as Donna later joked, drove her crazy and worked her to the bone. During her final year of college, the school held its first Campus Queen contest. Donna won. Her photo ended up on the front page of the Los Angeles Times, and it changed everything. Hollywood talent scouts took notice immediately. One of them, Bill Smith, arranged a screen test for her at MGM. Just like that, Donna went from being a small-town girl in California to a rising Hollywood prospect. Even with studios eager to sign her, Donna didn't jump at the chance right away. She chose to finish her college semester first. It was a decision that showed her strong values and steady mindset. Her daughter would later say that Donna could have become a college professor if things had gone differently. In April 1941, she finally signed a 7-year contract with MGM, earning $75 a week. But they didn't like her real name. With World War II stirring up anti-German feelings, they decided it wouldn't work. At first, MGM tried calling her Donna Adams, but that name was already taken by another actress. Then, for just a few hours, she became Donna Drake, until someone pointed out there was already a Donna Drake in Hollywood. Finally, a studio publicist came up with Donna Reed. She never felt it suited her. Years later, she admitted, "I hear Donna Reed, and I think of a tall, chic, austere blonde that isn't me. It has a cold, forbidding sound." There wasn't much time to dwell on her name, though. MGM quickly put her to work. In 1941 and 1942 alone, she appeared in 7 films. Her debut was The Getaway, followed closely by Shadow of the Thin Man, where she played the girlfriend of a murder suspect. More roles followed. The Bugle Sounds, The Courtship of Andy Hardy, a career boost that even brought the film trailer to her family farm in Iowa. Then Moki, Calling Dr. Gillespie, The Western Apache Trail, and Eyes in the Night, directed by Fred Zinnemann, the same director who would later guide her to an Oscar. Behind the scenes, she wasn't as soft-spoken as her screen image suggested. From the beginning, she stood up for herself. She even went directly to MGM boss Louis B. Mayer to complain about her part in the Andy Hardy series. Mayer didn't take it well. She was quietly sent to Paramount for a while as punishment. She didn't hold back with directors either, once calling them out for being so bitter that they made female characters as unpleasant as possible. In those days, actresses were expected to keep quiet. Donna Reed didn't. When someone asked her what television had given her, she answered with just one word: money. That kind of honesty made her both respected and feared in the studio system. Still, she had a softer side, and during the war, it showed. Her wholesome Iowa girl looks made her a favorite among American soldiers overseas. But she wasn't just another pinup, she wrote back. Hundreds of letters from homesick GIs came her way, and she answered them herself. One group of soldiers once wrote to her, saying, "We think you are the typical American girl, someone whom we'd like to come home to." Another unit asked her to be their official squadron angel. These small acts made a big impression, not just on the soldiers, but on the image she carried with the public. When It's a Wonderful Life premiered at the Globe Theater in New York on December 20th, 1946, it didn't do well. The movie lost a lot of money, $525,000 at the time, which would be about $8 million today. A critic from Variety thought Donna Reed would become a major star because of her performance, but the movie only ranked 26th in box office earnings the next year. It made $3.3 million, while the top movie of 1947, The Best Years of Our Lives, brought in $11.5 million. The studio tried to boost its chances by releasing it early to qualify for the Academy Awards, but the plan failed. It ended up competing with stronger films in 1946, instead of getting more attention in 1947. Things got even stranger when, in 1947, the FBI wrote a memo saying the film might be trying to make bankers look bad, something they claimed was a common tactic used by communists. That only added to the movie's early troubles. At the time of filming, Donna Reed was just 25 years old. She later said that making It's a Wonderful Life was the hardest job of her entire acting career. She once said, "No director ever demanded as much of me as Frank Capra." The work was exhausting, and the stress didn't stop after filming ended. This was a big deal coming from Reed, who would later win an Oscar in 1953 for From Here to Eternity, playing a very different kind of role. But even with that success, she still thought Capra's film was her toughest job. He was a perfectionist and pushed her to reach deep emotional levels in nearly every scene. Donna Reed wasn't the only one under pressure. Jimmy Stewart had just come back from World War II, where he had flown 20 combat missions over Nazi Germany. He was a war hero, but emotionally drained. When he first heard about the movie's story, about a man who considers ending his life, he wasn't interested. He had told people he wanted to do a comedy to lighten his mood after the war. In fact, he walked out of his first meeting with Capra. It took some convincing from his agent, Lou Wasserman, to get him back on board. Stewart hadn't worked in 5 years, and there weren't many offers coming in. That made his work with Reed even more impressive. Both actors were dealing with personal and professional challenges while filming this emotional story. The film's early struggles might have kept it forgotten, but something unexpected happened. In 1974, due to a simple paperwork mistake, the movie's copyright wasn't renewed. This meant it entered the public domain. Any TV station could now show it for free. Over the next 2 decades, it aired constantly during the holidays. People across the country watched it, year after year, and slowly it became a beloved classic. Then, in 1993, the story took another twist. Republic Pictures, which now owned the rights, found a way to regain control. They claimed ownership of the original short story the film was based on, The Greatest Gift, and bought the rights to the music score. That move gave them legal power to stop free showings and sign an exclusive deal with NBC. What started as a financial flop and even drew FBI suspicion ended up becoming one of the most loved holiday films in American history, all thanks to a forgotten form and a lot of late-night TV reruns. Before From Here to Eternity, Donna Reed was known as the perfect girl next door. She played kind, wholesome women, like Jimmy Stewart's sweet wife in It's a Wonderful Life. So when she took on the role of Alma, a woman working as a prostitute, though the film couldn't say that outright in 1953, it shocked everyone. Alma, who went by the name Lorene in the film, was a tough, complicated character. Donna had never played anyone like her before, but instead of backing away, she stepped into the role fully, showing both the character's hard edge and her deep emotions. Alma was cold and calculating at times, but Reed still found a way to make her likable. She made audiences understand why Montgomery Clift's character would care for her, even though she was clearly damaged. At first, the film's director, Fred Zinnemann, didn't think Reed could handle the part. He actually wanted someone else, Julie Harris. But the head of Columbia Pictures, Harry Cohn, insisted on casting Reed. Zinnemann didn't fight hard for her. In fact, he was so unsure that he made her do 3 different screen tests before giving in. But once filming started, he changed his mind. Reed surprised everyone. She didn't overact. She just became Alma. Her performance was quiet, strong, and full of emotion. She gave off a sense of someone who had been through a lot, and it worked. Critics noticed how smart her acting was. She managed to show Alma's selfish side while still letting people see her charm. It was a tricky balance. She let Alma be likable without softening the truth about who she was. Reed's performance kept a simmering tension going throughout the film. She showed flashes of obsession and even rage, but never went over the top. In the final scene, when Alma calmly lies about having a fiancé who died at Pearl Harbor, she did it with such cold honesty that it left a mark. It was quiet, it was stark, and it won her the Oscar. On March 25, 1954, when Walter Brennan read her name at the Academy Awards, Reed looked overwhelmed. As she walked up to accept her award, she admitted the walk felt long and said she hadn't thought she'd make it. Her short speech was heartfelt. She thanked Columbia Pictures and said the experience of filming had been wonderful. Then she added with a smile that even more wonderful is from eternity to here. Her win was a big deal. She had been up against some serious actresses, including Grace Kelly and Thelma Ritter. But what made it so powerful was what it symbolized. Donna Reed had broken out of the box people had put her in. She had proven she could be more than just the sweet, good girl. For audiences in the 1950s, seeing Reed play someone like Alma was jarring. One critic said that her scenes still jump out of the picture because of how dark and honest they feel. Reed wasn't just acting, she was showing something real. Her performance hinted at bigger things too. It showed what might happen to the ideas of honor and decency in the years after World War II. Alma was a character built on lies, trying to survive in a world that didn't offer her much. That's what made the performance stick. It wasn't just about one woman playing against type, it was about the collision of 2 versions of America. The hopeful one Reed used to represent, and the broken one she now portrayed. That's why people couldn't look away. In the late 1950s, Donna Reed did something rare for a woman in Hollywood. She not only starred in her own television show, but also helped create and run it. Alongside her husband, Tony Owen, she formed a production company called Todon Productions, named after a mix of their first names. Together, they launched The Donna Reed Show in 1958. It became a hit and ran for 8 seasons, producing 274 episodes by the time it ended in 1966. Although her name didn't appear in the credits as a producer, Donna was the one truly in charge. She picked the scripts, shaped the storylines, and guided the direction of the show. But back then, it wasn't common for a woman to be recognized for that kind of leadership, especially in television. Her husband got the official credit, even though Donna was calling the shots behind the scenes. At a time when most family sitcoms focused on dads, like Leave It to Beaver or Father Knows Best, Donna made sure her character, Donna Stone, was the center of the show. She was the one solving problems, guiding her family, and making the important decisions. That choice was bold. Television executives back then weren't comfortable with strong female characters, especially those who took charge. Donna didn't just challenge who got to be the lead in a show, she pushed against a lot of social rules. Her character sometimes stepped outside the usual motherly role and took on what people saw as a father's job, especially when it came to parenting. Even though the networks were strict about what could be shown, Donna found ways to explore tough topics. While there isn't a clear record of a fight with censors over a birth control episode in 1959, she did take on controversial issues during a time when birth control was still banned in many states and domestic violence was rarely discussed. In real life, Donna didn't shy away from saying what she thought either. In a 1964 interview, She said something shocking for the time: maybe not every woman needed to get married or have children to feel fulfilled. This was coming from a married mother of 4, playing a housewife on TV. But she believed some women might be happier if they lived life on their own terms, and she wasn't afraid to say it. Before the feminist movement gained steam in the late 1960s, Donna's show was already raising questions about women's roles. Her character didn't just cook dinner and clean the house. She showed frustration with housework. She dreamed about doing more. She wanted equality in her marriage. In one episode, she and her friends meet a Japanese woman who always obeys her husband. They talk to her, and by the end, she starts standing up for herself. The episode included some outdated stereotypes, but it also sent a clear message: women have the right to say no. Donna's idea of feminism was unique. She didn't reject motherhood, she embraced it. But she also believed women could be more than mothers, that they could be strong, independent, and still care deeply for their families. Today, we might call that maternal feminism, but back then, it was revolutionary. Donna Reed's first marriage didn't last long. In 1943, she married William Tuttle, a makeup artist, but the relationship ended just 2 years later. It was a short chapter in her life, happening right as her Hollywood career was starting to take off. During that time, she was appearing in films like The Human Comedy and They Were Expendable. By June 1945, at just 24 years old, she married again, this time to her agent, Tony Owen, who was 13 years older than her. The quick move from one marriage to another hinted at personal struggles that weren't visible to the public. On the outside, she was poised and rising fast in Hollywood. But behind the scenes, things may have been more complicated. With Tony, Donna built a life that looked more stable. They stayed married for 26 years and raised 4 children together: 2 adopted, Penny Jane and Anthony, and 2 biological, Timothy and Mary Ann. But even that marriage eventually ended in divorce in 1971. Their daughter Mary Ann later said it was hard on both of them. She believed the age gap and Donna's demanding work schedule, especially during her TV show years, put a strain on their relationship. Still, family life had its strong moments. Their son remembered how they always had dinner together, and how Donna, despite being a TV star, was just mom at home. It showed that even with all the fame, she tried to keep her family close. Even as her career grew, Donna never let go of her Midwestern roots. People who knew her, like actress Shelley Fabres, said she stayed grounded and kind, the way you'd expect someone from a small Iowa town to be. Donna herself often talked about growing up during the Great Depression and how hard it was for families like hers. Her father's deep faith gave them strength, especially when times were rough. She remembered how they'd all pile into an old car every Sunday and head to the local Methodist church. Just sitting next to her father in the pew gave her a sense of peace. Those early values stuck with her, no matter how big her name got in Hollywood. Donna Reed was a famous actress, best known for playing the perfect 1950s housewife on The Donna Reed Show. But during the Vietnam War, something changed in her. In 1967, she started to worry that her adopted son, Tony, might get drafted. That fear pushed her into the world of politics and protest. At first, Donna thought Tony could serve in a non-fighting role, but Tony didn't agree. He said the war was wrong, and he didn't trust the government or the military. Donna listened. She later said she learned a lot from him. Around the same time, Donna went to a birthday party for the young son of Barbara Avedon, a friend and former scriptwriter for her show. At the party, the women started talking about the war. That conversation sparked an idea. A few days later, on February 8, 1967, 15 women gathered in Barbara's living room. They wanted to take action. That day, they started a group called Another Mother for Peace. Not long ago, Donna had supported Republican Barry Goldwater for president. But now, with the war getting worse, her views were shifting. She began to see things differently. Donna became co-chair of the Peace Group. It grew fast. Soon, it had over 285,000 members across the country. Their goal was clear: stop war as a way to solve problems. Their first big effort was on Mother's Day in 1967. They sent cards to President Lyndon Johnson and members of Congress, asking for peace. People loved the idea. They also loved the group's sunflower logo and the message that became famous: war is not healthy for children and other living things. The first batch of 100 cards sold out. By May, over 200,000 cards had been sent to Washington. Donna used her fame to help the cause. She went on TV and appeared with other stars like Debbie Reynolds, Paul Newman, and Dick Van Dyke. Instead of going back to acting, she gave her time to the peace movement. She once wrote to a pen pal that she finally had some freedom in her life, and she chose to use it for peace. But she didn't stop with speeches and cards. The group gave out peace homework in newsletters, telling people what actions to take next. They spoke out against things like nuclear weapons, chemical warfare, and missile systems. Donna even helped campaign for Senator Eugene McCarthy in 1968. That was a big deal, especially since she had once backed Republican candidates, but she believed the war had gone too far. In 1971, Donna and other leaders from the group went to Congress. They spoke against the military budget, pushing for change at the highest level. Donna's activism was deeply personal. She once said she dreamed of a day when young men would no longer be taken to fight in wars started by older men. She had been a symbol of traditional American values, but now she stood for peace, even if it hurt her career in Hollywood. She chose to speak out, and that took courage. After the Donna Reed show ended in 1966, Donna Reed stepped away from acting. She wanted to spend more time with her family, and with the show's success, she could afford to be picky about what came next. The series had made her a millionaire many times over, so she didn't feel pressure to keep working. She became a co-chair of Another Mother for Peace, a group in Beverly Hills that stood firmly against the war. It was a bold move, especially in an industry where actors were often told to keep their views to themselves. But Reed believed it was too important to stay silent. In the years that followed, she mostly stayed out of the spotlight. She took on only a few roles in TV movies, like The Best Place to Be in 1979 and Deadly Lessons in 1983. Then, nearly 2 decades after leaving her sitcom, she made a brief return to television with a role on Dallas in 1984. In 1984, Donna Reed, the well-known actress from The Donna Reed Show and From Here to Eternity, got a surprising offer. She was asked to join the hit TV series Dallas to take over the role of Miss Ellie Ewing. The original actress, Barbara Bel Geddes, had stepped away from the show after heart surgery. Reed, who had been mostly out of the spotlight for years while raising her children and getting involved in political causes, saw this as a big opportunity. She signed a 3-year contract and was promised a large salary, more than $1 million over the next 2 seasons. Joining Dallas was exciting, but not easy. The cast had been working together for years, and Reed quickly felt like an outsider. According to her close friend Joyce, Reed sensed that the others were critical of her from the start. Still, she approached the job with determination. She respected the character of Miss Ellie and did her best to make the role her own. She worked hard, filming many episodes during the 1984 to 85 season. And her performance was good enough that the producers extended her contract for 2 more years. Things seemed stable. Reed thought she had a secure place on the show and even adjusted her personal life around it. But just as she was settling in, everything changed. In April 1985, while Reed was on vacation in Europe with her husband Grover, she got an unexpected call from her agent. Without warning, she had been fired. She was shocked. It was the first time in her long career that she'd been dropped from a role so suddenly. The producers had decided to bring back Barbara Bel Geddes, who was healthy again and ready to return. With other major cast members also leaving the show, the team behind Dallas wanted to bring back familiar faces to keep the audience interested. To make matters worse, some of Reed's fellow cast members had personally called Bel Geddes to convince her to return. When Reed got back from her trip, the decision was final. Even though she had a valid contract that should have kept her on the show for 2 more years, she was out after just 1 season. Reed didn't stay quiet. The next month, she sued Lorimar Productions and CBS for $7.5 million, claiming breach of contract. Her lawyers argued that she had done nothing wrong and that her contract didn't allow her to be replaced just because the producers changed their minds. They also pointed out that there was no pay-or-play clause. She was hired to perform, not just to be paid. She tried to stop the show from filming until her case was resolved, but the judge denied that request. Still, she pushed forward. Eventually, Reed reached a settlement. She would get her full salary for the next 2 seasons, even though she wouldn't appear on the show, and she was free to take other acting jobs. Financially, she won. But emotionally, the damage stayed with her. According to her daughter, Mary Owen, the whole situation had hurt Reed deeply. She never really got over it. By the middle of 1985, she started having serious stomach problems. At first, doctors thought it was just ulcers. Even while filming, she kept the pain to herself. She didn't want to seem weak, especially with a lawsuit hanging over her. That choice meant waiting longer to get real medical help. But hiding pain wasn't new for her. It matched the quiet strength she'd carried since growing up on a farm in Iowa. In December, things got worse. On the 10th, she checked into Cedars Sinai Medical Center. She thought it was just bleeding ulcers. But during surgery, doctors found something much more serious. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It was inoperable. They gave her just weeks to live. Even with that heartbreaking news, she stayed focused on her family. She was released from the hospital on Christmas Eve. She didn't tell her children how bad it really was. She wanted to protect their holiday joy. Her brother later said she was deeply upset, just like anyone would be. But she didn't show it. She kept her usual calm. 2 days before she passed, she even called her Dallas co-star Howard Keel to wish him well after his heart surgery. She didn't say a word about her own illness. There was no dramatic final request for an Oscar, but her Academy Award meant a lot. She won Best Supporting Actress in 1953 for From Here to Eternity, and it stood for something bigger. It was her way of proving she was more than the roles Hollywood gave her, often just a sweet, supportive woman in the background. In her last weeks, she grew frustrated. She didn't want to be remembered only as the TV mom from the Donna Reed show. That's why her family later donated her Oscar to her hometown of Denison, Iowa. It was her quiet way of saying, "See me for all I was." She passed away at home in Beverly Hills on January 14, 1986. She was 64. The studios wanted a big Hollywood funeral, but her family said no. She wanted something simple. She was buried at Westwood Memorial Park, just like she asked. Her legacy didn't end there. In 1987, the Donna Reed Foundation for the Performing Arts was born in her hometown. It gives scholarships to young artists, a reminder that greatness can come from small places. Every year, the town honors her with a festival. Her Oscar is there too, next to keepsakes from It's a Wonderful Life. That's how people remember her, not just as a star, but as someone who never forgot where she came from.